Hey guys, how you doing? I wish I could be talking to you under better circumstances, and trust me, there's some videos that will be coming out very soon. But unfortunately, I had to come on here, for those of you who have not heard already, because I heard the news pretty late. Sly Stone, the pioneering frontman of Sly and the Family Stone, has passed away at the age of 82. And the fact that I'm doing this a second time this year really says a lot, that we're losing a lot of incredible and talented and just legendary artists. And I think that there's no word more fitting to prescribe to someone like Sly Stone, who I think everybody kind of knows about, but sometimes I feel like he doesn't get the credit that he deserves. And he certainly didn't get that financially or career-wise when he was alive. And we'll get into that a little bit, but I really do think that without him, music would not be what it is today. And there was one critic who said there was black music before Sly Stone and there was black music after Sly Stone. And I don't think there could be a better way of describing just how influential and how incendiary his brand of psychedelic funk was. I mean, he took, what some of the best, rock musicians like Jimi Hendrix was doing, and then of course what James Brown was doing in the realm of funk, and kind of fused them together in one of the not only first, ethnically diverse groups, integrated groups you could say, but also gender balanced groups as well, with Sly and the Family Stone. I mean, it's really kind of incredible just from a social standpoint what he did with that group, and also what their music reflected. Because, originally in their career it was all about positivity and, enlightenment, uplifting one another, and, joining together in unity, and talking about it in a way that didn't really sugarcoat things. I mean, just look at the album Stand, and that will tell you everything you need to know. But, songs like Everyday People is such an iconic classic in that regard. There's so many very, socially conscious songs that approached the matter of race from an angle that I don't think a lot of other artists were, and also in a way that I don't think a lot of other artists were talking about. This was really kind of the burgeoning of, being able to get on record and talk about racial issues in any way, shape, or form. And I think not only that, but the music itself was just so revolutionary in ways that we hadn't heard combined before. And like I said, I mean, black music was never the same after that. And of course, he paved the way for George Clinton especially, and, Parliament Funkadelic, but also, one of my musical icons I got on my shirt here, Prince. I mean, there would be no Prince without Sly Stone. There would be no Frank Ocean without Sly Stone, for that matter. And I just think, what an incendiary vocalist he was, too. That guy had some pipes. One of the most underrated singers of all time. But I think most people who listen to Sly and the Family Stone would say that he was a terrific vocalist. And I just think, especially even when they turned, more specifically Sly turned into the more cynical songwriting, moving away from such great and iconic classics like Dance to the Music, which has one of the most iconic hooks of all time. I Want to Take You Higher, Life. I mean, there's so many songs that I'm not even thinking about from, off the top of my head. But man, he really delivered. But then when he shifted into the more cynical side of his songwriting, especially when everything was, going haywire politically, and then you got work like There's a Riot Going On, and even though it was a lot more pessimistic in tone, it still was just as essential and still just as powerful. And of course, this was also at a time where he was delving deep into, drugs and really just kind of becoming a victim of his own addiction, kind of retreating from the rest of the world, sort of similar to what happened to Brian Wilson in the 60s. And just, it's so sad to see what eventually happened to him and, how he got cheated out of his money. Like, I think Sly Stone is one of the greatest tragedies and victims of the music industry and what it can do to people. And to know that he, by choice, evidently, but lived out the rest of his days living in a trailer outside of someone's house. I mean, this is the guy who gave us Prince, essentially. And that is how things ended up for him. I mean, it really, really is sad. And I do, feel bad that that was what had to happen to someone so influential and important in the development of popular music. But, when it comes down to it, we all got to go at some point. And 82 isn't too bad. I know he's lived longer than some other iconic artists that were around for even a shorter amount of time. But I think what we need to remember is just how great Sly and the Family Stone was, how great of a band. I mean, yet again, the hits go on and on. If You Want Me to Stay, Family Affair. I mean, so many songs that have just stood the test of time, undeniably so, more than 50 years later. And I just really want to thank Sly Stone from the bottom of my heart for everything that you gave us, all the enlightenment you tried to bring into the world to make some of our days perhaps just a little bit brighter and try to get your message out to the masses in a way that I don't think a lot of people or artists can say that they have. And that isn't to take away from a lot of artists who were great from that period, who maybe even I enjoy more, but I really do think that he is a music pioneer who now we should really take the time and recognize and go out of our way. If you haven't listened to Sly and the Family Stone yet, please have this be the moment that you finally check them out, because I guarantee you won't be disappointed by what you hear, even if it has some sentiments which might not be, 100%, to scale by today's standards. I still think that the music has transcended time and is still relevant in more ways than one. And yeah, I mean, this is a huge loss. So rest in peace, Sly Stone, and thank you for letting us be ourselves again, and for all the great music that you have given us.